Okay, just got done with my appointments and I'm heading home in this very hot weather. It's only noon and it's hot. I've still got 5 more hours to go of peak hours. Okay, so just for an update on my current little lifestyle changes, I think I'm going on about maybe 7 days now, or 6-7 days, I guess, with my new eating habit, eating changes. Hold on, let me get on the freeway here. And so far, so good. It just kind of sucks because I'm still missing sugar. Like yesterday, I broke down and I bought a little box of sugar because my coffee tasted so bad. And I put only like 1 teaspoon in my coffee. And I ended up staying up late last night. And it kind of messed me up because I had trouble sleeping, a little bit of trouble sleeping, and I had to wake up this morning to go to my appointments, and it was like back to my old schedule, you know, and I was like, maybe it is the sugar, maybe it was the sugar this whole time, because for a while there, I was going to bed early and waking up early, and actually having more energy in the morning, and just from, I had maybe 2 cups of coffee, and I had only like 1 teaspoon in each, and I already felt the difference. So I did backslide. I'm a backslider. So today I'm not going to do that again. But I was desperate. Like, I was just so mad. I tried that stevia stuff. I tried that other stuff. And those things suck. They all have an aftertaste. They're all disgusting. They all taste really, really gross. And just knowing the chemicals in there and like, you know, the cancer-causing stuff they have in there, I was just like, no, I just have a bad feeling about that stuff. So, I never buy that. So I guess what I'll do is just continue with a little raw sugar if I get desperate. If I absolutely have to have it. But that went alright, I guess. Okay, so then this morning I weighed myself and I've dropped a total of 15 pounds now. And now I'm kind of freaked out. But, you know, I'm not going to, since I'm doing everything in baby steps, I'm not going to get all too freaked out about it. Because hopefully it's just water weight. You know, usually, I guess maybe in the beginning, it's just water weight. So if it's just water weight, then I won't freak out about the whole skin and all that stuff. But if next week ends up like that, then I will. Then I'm going to have to grab some fat. Because no offense, I'd rather be a round person that's filled out than skinny with hanging skin. Because I've seen those videos on YouTube or other places of women who got or even men who got that surgery or something that does something to their stomach, and they get this massive quick weight loss, and they have like all this skin hanging, and then you're stuck with another problem, you know. Unless you can afford surgery, you're stuck with this hanging skin. Okay, I'm not going to talk right now because there's a cop there. So I'm not talking. Okay, now I can talk. Yeah, so that's my biggest fear. And I know chances of that happening to me are slim, but still, it's like I don't want to be one of those people stuck with that. You know, especially being big busted and, you know, the pregnancy, stomach area. That's what I worry about. I want it to all be timed just right. You know, I don't want, because my whole goal with all this stuff is to make sure my blood work in the next couple months, when I get the blood work, I want to see if it actually helped reverse some of the results. And that's the whole goal of this, is for my blood work. We'll see. Plus this thing, like I have this thing about, you know, if my body type was the type that could do that, then it's fine. But I know my nationality, I know my body type, and I think you have a little bit of roundness, you just look better and younger, you know. I don't want to end up with a shallow face and looking like a skeleton. That's like my biggest fear. I'm just like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I like my cheeks. You know, my cheeks and I'm not going to lose all that and have them all sink in. Look like old. Okay. So I also, on my free time, at night, I've been watching the stuff on the riots and all that. And oh, can I go that way? I don't know if I can go that way. I hope I can go that way. I don't know if I can, though. Damn it. I'm stuck by the road work again. I don't know what they're doing. They're like digging a hole, like a real deep hole. I guess after they dig, they put that sand back in, huh? I mean, I would think. I don't know what they're doing here. There's all kinds of weird sand out here. There's black sand, white sand, brown sand. And then all the rocks and stuff that they're scooping out from the ground. Yeah, so I've been watching the stuff on the riots, and I think the news is doing a disservice. You know, there's a lot of propaganda. I'm noticing, like, all the news, they all say the same thing, and words, like keywords, and they're not showing the reason why these are happening. Like, yeah, they kind of touch on it and stuff, but I think it's more than just this last man was killed by police. This is like, I think this is like years of oppression, and so these people are just standing up to the police department. But the rioters, for the most part, are children. They're high schoolers, or they're kids, but they're getting the attention, rather than the protesters or the people who were protesting. So I was thinking, they should have it sounds kind of harsh, I guess, but they should have consequence. I don't know how to do this. Can I go? Where do I go? Can I go this way? Okay. Thanks. All right. Okay. Yes. I thought I'm going to have to go all the way around or something. All right, I'm fine. I'm good. So I think there should be consequences. Like if one of these kids, not to hurt the families, but technically by rioting businesses and like that one drugstore that they showed, where people get their medicines and things that they're going to need, yet they riot these places without thinking ahead, and they're usually kids, right? And they're going to need them later. They'll destroy these little businesses, but that's where they get their stuff. Like, how are they going to, if things are closed down and they close down their town, they just kick themselves in the foot. Kick their own butts, So I think there should be a consequence. I mean, not all of them are going to get caught, but people have, the cell phones, they know who they are, and they could get caught. And I think if they do, there should be a consequence to the family. Now, it looks like the area this is at, there's probably the majority of the people are in some type of assistance or housing. And they should have that in just like they do when you apply and they put you down for drugs. They're saying, okay, if any family member in this household, and this is like for housing and welfare, like AFDC or TANF or anything like that, you have to sign this paperwork. And if anybody gets convicted of drugs or anything like that, they lose their benefits, right? Or you get consequences. Well, I think they should add this for things like that. If you participate, now I'm not talking about participate in protesting, but participate in vandalizing property, vandalizing businesses, property, stealing during an event, during a protest, that they will also lose their benefits, or there'll be consequences. Let's say the parents can't totally control what their kids do if they're not there, right? So rather than punishing the whole family, there should be a consequence that, okay, if your child is caught participating in looting, then you will lose your benefits for 2 months, right? Or you will lose your food stamps, or something that would be a consequence. And then that responsibility sets on the teenagers. When they do their packets, you have anybody that's in high school sign a specific portion and understand their responsibility in it. They understand that if they pull any of this behavior, that they will lose the benefits for the whole family. Do you know what I'm saying? And at least that would be in the back of their mind. Be like, like the mother who caught her son. Now, from what I gathered from that was she wasn't beating him up or slapping him around because of what he was doing. She was doing it out of fear that she was afraid because of what he was doing, he was going to become another statistic. She was afraid that, he's going to get shot or he's going to get killed by police. And that's why she freaked out. She wasn't freaking out over his general behavior. She was in fear that he was going to be next, by coming up against them openly like that. Because I think that's how fearful that community is in general. It's almost like Bakersfield. There's a lot of areas here you don't want to be stopped by a cop because the cops here are crooked. They are crooked. They are what do you call it? They're corrupt. And they killed a guy out here for a cell phone. I mean, they just shot him dead, They do that shit here all the time. And so nobody wants to be stopped by a cop, even for the smallest thing. And so I think the whole rioting, it's more than just that man. This is probably years of oppression, years of being harassed. So I don't think there's anything wrong with them protesting. I don't think there's anything wrong with them uprising against it because it's happening everywhere and it was about to come to a head eventually. It just, because that area is predominantly a black area, that the news and everybody make a big deal about it because what they want to do is demean them. It's kind of like what they did with the Jews. They demean them. They're savages. They're just losers. Look at these thugs. Look at these, criminals. But that's not the case. The case is that they're just black. Their race is just black, and so you got people doing that. Rather than looking at what's going on in the community and what, the cops need to be responsible because it is getting out of control. But as far as the kids looting and rioting, yeah, okay, so you need consequences, and I think that was one of the consequences that they should do is remove benefits if they are on it. Now, if they're not on benefits, the photographs, I don't know, if they do get caught, also like the area, I don't know, I had the thought and it left. I think that's a good option, especially because realistically, it's a lot of the young people. People older don't have the energy to do that stuff. You just don't have it. And just do it that way. Because a lot of these places that it happens to are usually places that are more poverty areas, because those are the areas that get harassed the most. It's very different. I mean, I see it out here too. And out here, like in Oildale and other places like that, those are mostly white people. But because they're poor, they get treated that way. They get treated like shit. But you don't see it on the news. Sometimes you do, but not really, because unless they did have a riot here, but I don't know. There could be, I guess. There's a lot of drive-bys out here, stuff like that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, unless you actually have ever experienced or lived in a place where this is constant, okay? Like, you gotta constantly be worried about being stopped. I mean, you could just be walking to the park and a cop sees you, and if you look at them because they startled you, and then they just stop you because you look suspicious. You only look suspicious because you're a minority and you got freaked out. But see, if it was somebody else in a suburb area, they wouldn't even notice it. So there is some serious things that need to be changed. So I've been watching a couple of live streams and stuff, and I watch them. I like them better than the news, because the news is all propaganda. The news is just going to say whatever they were told to say to protect whoever they're protecting. So I don't even watch that anymore. I don't listen to anything from the news anymore. Like nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're full of shit. Yep. I get all my news from, researching or looking at Twitter, and then following this link, and then following this, and then looking at YouTube videos and finding real articles and things like that. I guess I should turn the air conditioner on. It's hot. It is so hot. My legs are burning. So I think there's supposed to be an event happening starting tomorrow over there. I don't think this is over. I think it's going to get better worse before it gets better. From what I understand, I guess they have military there now, scaring the hell out of everybody. I don't know. I heard that mayor or whoever is in charge of that area, she don't know shit. I don't know why they elected her. She's not doing anything. She's not protecting her people. She looks kind of scared. When I saw the interview, she looked like she's being held under, an armed person saying what they're telling her not to say, or something, like trying to prevent herself from speaking up. So I think there's a lot more to this, a lot more to the history. And I know people just want to say, it's just a bunch of uneducated losers. They're this. It's like, no. This has been ongoing, and it's been getting worse and worse. It's just that you're not living it. And it's because some people have that mindset. They don't see, they only see their world, and it's almost impossible. And they really don't care. They don't have the empathy to understand what's really going on, because nothing's ever happened to them. So they don't think it exists. But it exists all over the world. You see a lot of stuff we're at war for, or, the reasons they say we're at war, and things that are happening to other people around the world, that's happening here too. It's happening here too. It's just covered nicely. That's all. And it's got to stop. It has to stop. Because whether people want to believe it or not, Americans are all types of races. America is no longer a white race. America it's always been a melting pot. It's always been that way. It's just the handful of people that would like to keep it, that tried to do, to do it that way, but you can't. You can't. There's natives here. We will always be here. There's Mexicans here. They will always be here. Spanish are here. They will always be here. And, black people were here before the whites, right? So, we're all here, and we're not going anywhere. Nowhere. You got all these different nationalities that were brought over here by boats for slave labor. The Chinese, the Irish, everybody. They're not going anywhere. So this has got to change. I got to change the mindset, because being an officer, a police officer, police originated in England. And what it was people who kept the peace. They actually at that time did not have they didn't carry weapons or anything. It was more like helping the community and keeping the peace. And then when there were problems, they would take somebody in and stuff like that. And it was watching the behavior of the community, right? And that's what cops were. They were like, you could go to them for anything, for help with whatever's going on in your world. And it's changed over the years. And over here, it's become militant. And in some ways, they have to be. Of course, you have to have some things because this society is very populated. So yeah, you got higher crime. But for civilians, for other people, they should not be afraid of law enforcement. There is no reason why citizens should be in fear of them because they are working for the citizens. But the way it's turning out now is that the average person is now afraid of authority because they've become militant. They've become people that are taking away your rights, taking away your civil rights. Rather than helping a community, they are just sitting there like somebody waiting to punish you, you know? It's getting ridiculous. And it really is. And it's getting bad. I can see it happening over here in Bakersfield. It's not to that extent yet, but it could be. It could be really quick because it's a little harder here. Because there's a lot of poverty, but the majority of the people here who are poor are white. So it's a little bit different, but they're just as scared, you know. I don't like to be stopped by a cop. I mean, so far, it's like, and my sons already know, too. Like, as soon as they're stopped, don't say shit. Because there's always that possibility. So you really can't totally trust them. And it kind of makes a bad name for the good ones, for the ones that are legit. You know, it's that handful of corrupt people who are just like, you know, closet KKK people, or their thinking is just different. I don't know about the newer generation of officers. I think that's a little different. It's the old ones. And they should just fire them all. Just retire them all, you know. Just retire them. Say, okay, you're no longer needed. Just because their thinking is so ridiculous for this time and age. The world is changing. They're not. So the ones that can't change, which I understand, it's kind of like they're doing with the teachers. It's time to retire. Just retire, you know. Because that type of thinking and behavior is no longer going to be tolerated. Alright, so that's my little rant on the riot stuff. I'll be watching more of it. I'm sure if something happens tomorrow or this weekend, because from what I understand, there are plans for more protests starting Friday, or something like that, and they're not going to listen to no curfew. So I hope nothing bad happens. If I wasn't so far, I'd go over there and check it out, but I don't know. That'd be crazy. Alright, I'm almost home. Hold on here. So yeah, that's all I want to talk about. I think there should be consequences for some of these kids, you know, that aren't really totally getting caught, or, you know, rather than just writing them up or making them go to juvie for a couple days and stuff like that. It should be an overall thing, and that they should sign it before so they think about things before they do it. And then the parents are to acknowledge that too, that it's their responsibility to instill in them how important this is, because they could lose their livelihood. And this is not to be harsh, but this is just, maybe a way to help it. Okay. It's time to go home. I'm going to just turn on that air conditioner. I'm going to make my breakfast because I forgot to eat, which was bad. That's the only thing with this. I was supposed to eat as soon as I woke up, but because I stayed up so late last night, I only had like 20 minutes to get ready and leave, and I totally went without eating. But I did good. I never got fast food. I was tempted, but I didn't do it. So I'm just going to go and make my stuff from scratch right now. Make it from scratch. Damn vegetables. Oh, I got it. Let me in. This property is protected by video surveillance. You will be towed. Okay. Oh, don't even park by me. Don't even park by me. You know that's not your parking place. You almost parked in my spot. You're so lucky you didn't. Yeah, he's looking at me. Yeah, he almost parked in my spot. Okay, thank you guys for listening to another episode of On the Road with Desert.